The State of the Nation with Zororo Makamba.
Zimbabwean media is not where it should be. Look around us. Other countries are pushing ahead. In terms of the quantity of media and quality, we are falling behind. What can we do to change this? Well, there are three groups that have a role to play to turn this around. Number one, the government and media regulators. Number two, the media itself. And number three, you, the audience. Let's talk about this on this week's State of the Nation. Here's a question. When was the last time you bought a newspaper? You don't remember, right? Just like every other industry in Zimbabwe, the media has had its fair share of problems. The legal environment and the economy haven't been too good for media. The space was closed up, the pay is low, and there's been a loss of skills. What needs to change? First, let's take a look at the role of government. In Zimbabwe, the media has all along been regulated by laws such as IPA, the Access to Information and Protection of Privacy Act. There's also the Broadcasting Services Act. IPA was a bad law, that's a fact. It made it harder for journalists to work freely. It's now being replaced by two new laws, the Freedom of Information Bill and the Zimbabwe Media Commission. The government will soon license new radio and TV licenses. It's a step in the right direction. It's about time too. A 40-year-old country with one TV station, just one. That's a shame. Here's one thing you might not know. Zimbabwe had TV before any other country in the region. The very first TV service in the country is on November 14, 1960. It was only the second TV service in all of sub-Saharan Africa, after Nigeria. South Africa didn't even have TV until 1976. That's right, South Africa had TV a good 16 years after we had. Today, South Africa's TV industry is light years ahead of ours. What about Malawi? Did you know Malawi didn't have TV until 1999? Yes, there was no TV in Malawi until just 20 years ago. Now, Malawi has licensed 20 TV stations. They have dozens of radio stations too. In Mozambique, they have over 40 community radio stations. So it's good news that we'll soon have a new radio and TV stations. That's progress. But the bad news is this: it's just too expensive. Here are the numbers. You want to set up a national radio station. You pay 42,500 Zimbabwe dollars to apply. Then you pay a basic fee of 255,000 Zim dollars per year. Then you must pay 2% of your monthly turnover. In South Africa, you pay just 6,380 Rand to renew your radio license. You want a TV station? You've got to pay 306,000 Zim dollars for annual fees. In Zambia, you only have to pay an initial fee of 20,000 kwacha. That's just about 1,300 US dollars. You don't pay more than that for your annual fees. Even our colleges will have to pay loads of money for campus radio. Is this the best way? We need to look at broadcasting as an investment. TVs Big Business. Check out these numbers. 33.45 billion rands. That's the revenue in the South African TV industry in 2018. 40 billion rand. That's how much they'll be making come 2023. And think of the job creation. How many people get to work on a TV show? You're talking about the actors, the writers, the camera guys, the editors, the graphics people, accountants, administrators, makeup, artists, drivers, security, carpenters, and designers who make studio sets, wardrobe and costume guys, sound engineers, the guys who sort out the lighting. Just for one show. Opening up the space gives our content creators more work. A new production studio has been opened for the creators at ZBC. Those are the kind of opportunities we want to see. We're talking open for business, right? TV and radio is one way of doing it. Talk about sport. Do you know this guy? That's Joel Ngodzo. He's the current soccer star of the year. If you met him on First Street today, a lot of you wouldn't know him. Why? Because you don't get to see him on the telly. There's no local soccer on TV. Why? Because there's no competition for the rights to local PSL. Now, again, think of all the new jobs that this could create by just screening games. There's more on the regulatory side. Journalists need to be free to do their work. We've seen journalists get harassed. Last year, cops even fired tear gas into the 263 newsroom. Media groups are now holding regular meetings with ZRP to get this sorted. That's positive. So that's on the regulatory side. What about the media itself? What role should they play? Again, here's that question. When was the last time you actually paid for a newspaper? If a newspaper asked you to subscribe to access their website, would you do it? Is it worth it? Remember the time when school kids were told to read newspapers to improve their language and writing skills? Tell the truth. Would you give your kid a Zimbabwean newspaper today? It seems a lot of papers are just filled with the stuff we've already seen on WhatsApp or Twitter. And how many times has this happened to you? You see an interesting headline, you get excited, you rush to read the story, but there's nothing in the story that matches the headline. What about all those unnamed sources in the papers? Are they even real? For some journalists, the race is to be a celebrity. They put themselves into the story instead of just telling the story. News articles are more about opinions, not facts. Let's not even get started about the standard of economic reporting. It's poor. Can you spend your 20 or 40 bucks to read about factions this and factions that? Same stuff you saw yesterday. Too much politics, politics, politics. It's all very predictable now. No wonder newspapers won't tell us their real circulation figures. The media is polarized. You have to read different papers just to figure out what happened. Seems everyone has their own facts. Even the election observers in the 2018 elections spoke about the need for media reform. The AU and SADC said the state media was not objective. We want a national broadcaster that reflects our diversity. ZBC should show the best of all of us, not the worst. It must be a platform for all Zimbabweans. We all want the responsible media, right? So how can we hold the press to account? Other professions have organizations that make them accountable. Doctors, accountants, lawyers, they make each other accountable. Why not journalists? Can we trust the media industry to regulate themselves? There is now talk of co-regulation. Let's make this work. And fake news is real. Around the world, countries are making laws against fake news. Just recently in Ethiopia, they introduced a law that makes fake news and hate speech illegal. Singapore, France, Canada, Germany, and many other countries have laws against fake news. The EU is working on laws to deal with fake news too. Do we need these laws in Zimbabwe? Maybe we need a balance. We need laws that protect us from fake news, but also still protect our constitutional rights to press freedom. And this is where your role as the public comes in. You have a big say in how the media works. Now ask yourself, where do you get your news? Aren't we the ones driving fake news? Do you check if a WhatsApp message is true before forwarding it to your groups? We are the ones sponsoring fake news. Every time you click on a fake news website, they make money. Think about that. Media can be a powerful tool. Having diverse voices isn't a bad thing. It's great for nation building. We need to build shared national values. For that, we need better media. Everyone has a role to play. The government needs to follow through on media reforms. The media itself needs to honestly look itself in the mirror. Because we, the public, deserve better.